Greetings and welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of Poly Weekly News. I'm your host, David Danto. I'm wearing the HP shirt. I still don't have a polo with HP and Poly. I've got T-shirts, but I don't want to wear T-shirts on the show. So we're rotating back and forth between the HP and Poly. Thank you for joining us, as always, this week. As I promised when I was at ISE last week, my guest this week is my colleague, Andre Reid. Andre, say hi to everybody.
Hey everybody! Yeah, thanks, Dave, very much for having me. I would say that I actually have some HP Poly socks. We had them made up for day one, but I don't think I'm going to get on camera and show those off today. But they're quite comfortable, really nice.
No, you
socks.
probably wear a headband with the socks or something. I have to. We'll work it out. But until then, I'm going to keep rotating back and forth. So Andre is in charge of our headsets. That's probably the most accurate description that I have of him. Andre, why don't you tell everybody in better words than that who you are, how you came to be with our organization, and what you do?
Yeah, my pleasure. And I have the honor of taking over our headset portfolio from a product management perspective. I did that about a year ago. My time before that was legacy Polycom, doing phones for many years. Love the headset business. Love the new challenge of learning something new markets. Obviously, there's some customer shift in demand, and through the pandemic, really saw tremendous growth. And being able to start to put my mark on what this portfolio looks like, shifted a little bit more, from a use case, from a form factor to where the market's going and consumers are asking for. So great to be here. Love the opportunity that we have now as HP to really get our headsets out into as many end users, both consumer and enterprise, as we possibly can.
I appreciate that, and it's actually, excuse me, a pretty good story around the first time as a customer when I visited Plantronics, the wall of ears, which many people have heard or rumored or seen pictures of, but the idea that we really make it a point that one size doesn't fit all and one style doesn't fit all. One of the things that I've talked about on the show in the past is when I talk to customers, which I do all the time, and I ask you, tell me what you think our best headset is. I often have to duck down because there's so much arguing between on ear, in ear, overhead, around the side. It's not something that you can dictate. It's something you have to offer some choice with and let people get what they like.
Visiting Plantronics and seeing the 50 plus year heritage of what goes in and why we build the best headsets out there is phenomenal. I don't think we do a good enough job spreading that message and sharing that message. Our end users feel it, right? Every day when they use our headsets, when they hear our headsets, when the far end hears them speaking. But it's mind blowing to see that the skill that is in our design labs and our engineers. It's the best in the industry, and it's something that we need to spread more. We need to share more. We need to allow our end users to see that and understand it and present that and market it better.
Absolutely,
it really is truly something.
You and I do a great job. That we're not worried about. It's the collective.
I don't even think I do it enough justice, but thank you. It really is amazing, and that heritage goes back so long, which is really cool.
Absolutely, supporting remote working since the 1960s. It's on all of my slides.
The furthest distance possible ever remote working over
yes.
Poly Plantronics.
Exactly, and I was very pleased to receive the commemorative 5200 with the Apollo insignia on it, reminding all of us that our heritage goes way back to then. So I've got that here somewhere. I'm not going to wear it. I just don't want to hurt it or sully it in any way. I'm probably going to keep it under wraps.
Sorry for the camera view there. And we're a little bit off topic, but this is what David's referring to. These are a not for sale special edition commemorating the acquisition by HP. And so if you see on the front of the case here, we built this off of our Voyager 5200 UC. This is the contour of the moon, and then the GPS coordinates for the landing. When you open it up, we put the one giant leap for mankind along here, and then we built a very special edition 5200 headset. And so it's hard to properly do it justice, but we try to follow sort of a space theme with our fonts, with the way we're showing this. You probably don't see it on camera, but the black actually has stars speckled into it. We went gold on the boom, and then we actually put our new company logo on the other side of the ear. And so this
Yeah.
was something that we did for all Poly employees, some of the top folks at HP, folks that worked on the integration and the IMO and the acquisition. Um, and one of the coolest projects that we got to work on, and it was a behind the scenes thing. So we also did nice, packaging, et cetera. So I know there's a lot of that that's been shown on social media, but I thought maybe I'd share a little bit of the story behind it.
Oh, I absolutely appreciate it. And I will just to change the topic just for a second to make sure that we don't have any kids sitting in the back row that start pointing and laughing at the teacher. We are between the two of us using some experimental hardware and some experimental software. So if you're hearing anything going in and out, that's because we're eating our own dog food as we get the product developed. And you are wearing a headset that I don't have yet, that every analyst has said I want the first one. So we're gonna have to create at least 200 that say 001 on the serial number. But tell us about it.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I do know that I am on a few week old version of software, and we are still working on development. We've announced it, and so it's nice to be able to actually come on and talk to you about it. So while we do have many customers, internal stakeholders and analysts asking for it, this is Poly's really first our enterprise grade true wireless headset, and we're bringing out a few different models within this. We looked at this, and I can give you a little bit more of the why and the story there.
Sure.
But we see, from an overall market dynamic, going into the pandemic, coming out of the pandemic, the trend, Apple really created with AirPods. End users want something more discreet. They want something they can use for both work and play. And almost every true wireless headset out there does, play really well, right? Listening to music, athletics, going to the gym, etc. But they don't do the work part well. And so we said, let's build on the 50 plus year heritage, our expertise in enterprise audio. Say, we'll build the best one for hybrid work, but we're also going to make it great for play. And so where you have end users that want this type of form factor, they do not typically sound good on video calls, in meetings. We're going the other way. We're saying we're going to sound great in meetings, great on video calls, and we're also going to be great at music. And so this is where we started from an inception point of how do we leverage the things that Poly's great at, and how do we go after the things that the industry is not doing well. And so there's a few parts of that, right? Audio is obviously one of them. We did a lot of research. Comfort is another. The way we design these, we built off of, and you talked a bit about that wall of ears, which is a great thing to see. And anytime they ever hear someone that says, "Hey, this doesn't fit me quite right," they go and mold your ear, and they add it to the wall of ears. They add it to their database of hundreds of thousands of ears. But we started from a baseline from our Voyager 6200, which is the neck band, which is very comfortable. And we made some very specific design element choices. One of them is that we are not going to go deep into your ear canal, right? And a lot of the headsets out there today in the true wireless space go very deep into your ear canal. There's an element of that from a comfort perspective. It's very hard to wear them for more than an hour at a time. Even that may be hard for some people. Obviously, there's different ear tips you can change out and get a little bit better. Some of the other problems that you get with that is you get a little bit too much of a physical noise block, or ear plugging. And what that does is it starts to create sort of unbalance in your ear, and a lot of the vendors out there aren't putting in side tone. And so when you go really deep in the ear, you create too much of a physical block, and you're not creating side tone. When you speak, right, as an end user, you're speaking, you start shouting, and you sometimes can actually start to feel nauseous. And so these are very intentional design elements for us. Again, building off of things we knew from comfort, and then also really leveraging our audio and our DSP team to figure out what is the best experience for an end user that's using this for meetings and calling first. And so that's really the core of it. And I'll maybe I'm sure there's some pictures out there. I may find a pair of buds that is a set that I'm not currently wearing in my ear. Um, that's really some of the core design elements of what we started, and maybe I'll just hold up a pair. I won't bring up competitors. I do have a drawer full of the competitors. I don't want to do that to them, but you can see that the way we've designed this shape, it's not going really deep into your ear. We're leveraging that conical design, and the
Mhm.
the magic that our ID guys do is it stays in your ear, and it goes in your ear and it stays in place. And it's one of those things that for people that we've put into our internal usage beta, so I'm just watching to see the focus here, how that's working, that they're amazed at the comfort and that it stays. And that's part of what I say when I talk about the amazing team that we have, the heritage and the design capabilities. It's a bit like magic that it just does and it stays and it's comfortable for so long.
Hold that up
Um,
just for one more second, and just at a very high level, not getting too much into the weeds, point out to us what the various pieces and parts of that are, because I know you obviously have the part that goes in your ear that you can hear,
yeah.
whatever you call that nowadays, the transducer or the or whatever the story is. But there's also going to be a microphone on it. There's also going to be a control
Yeah,
surface
I
on
was
it.
trying to
There's
find a black pair that may show up on the camera a little bit
No, it's
better. And maybe
okay.
if I
I,
zoom
I
out,
don't want to show it too much to our competitors because they're probably like taking screen caps now. But it would just be just a very high level.
it's too
What's
late for
on
them,
there?
David. It's too late.
Oh,
Once
okay.
this
All right.
starts shipping, it's too late for them.
Okay.
I'm just joking. So we really, from a design element, right? We started with, big decision on, do we need a boom or do we not need a boom? And there's a few things that we said, okay, we need a boom. One of them was and is the mic array. So we have a three mic beam forming array that directs down to my mouth, right? And so in order to get a better beam, right, you need a longer boom. If they're too short together, you get less focus towards the mouth. So that's what you see. So you'll see a mic here, and you'll see a couple mics in the side where that metal is, and that's part of our
Hmm.
wind noise reduction technology that
Okay.
we build, leveraging off of the Focus 2 that you're using, 5200, et cetera, type technology. Um, we do have a single button on the ear tip, and I'm just trying to see. I don't know if that's focusing for you. You can see it there a little bit.
I'll take your word for it.
It's right here, and
Okay.
it's nice because you can feel it depress, right? So you actually get like an actual tactile feel from it.
Hmm.
And then we also have a gesture-based slider. So you can actually volume control up or down. You can change ANC. You can select what you want it to be in our lens application. And then the ear tips are interchangeable. So if you do want to go up or down from a size and a fit perspective, you can do that. So that's really it. And then obviously you have the wearing sensors. It detects whether it's in your ear or not. It detects whether it's in a case.
Is there a
Detects
separate
case to close.
microphone for the ANC, or is it that same three mic array that's doing it?
We have the separate microphone, but it's actually in the earbud, right? So we are also doing the hybrid ANC or adaptive ANC, right? So we're actually listening into what we've canceled out to the user and making sure that we're not bleeding through, and then we adjust and continue to go on
So that's at least a
from
fourth
there.
microphone.
Yeah. But if it's not part of the noise pickup beamforming aspect, right?
A lot of technology in that little thingy.
There is, and like just absolutely kudos to our team for getting it to where it is so far. I've been using this in customer meetings for about 4 or 5 months, obviously under NDA pre-announcement on customer meetings, and same disclosure up front. Hey, I'm using beta or pre-beta technology. If something goes wrong, they understand. But
Yeah.
for the most part, it's been solid. It's been great,
Awesome.
and
And
and a
then, of
tremendous
course,
amount
the
of technology.
big differentiator is the case.
I was going to
If
get
people
there.
want it. Okay.
Yeah, no,
Go
I was
ahead.
going to get there.
Take
So
your time. I don't want to
no,
interrupt your cadence.
no. So again, we focus on what the market does well, doesn't well, what we do well, etc. And one of the things for almost all sort of true wireless, and I say true wireless, and I hope our end users understand what that means. It really means earbuds, and it's kind of an industry term that I don't know that consumers quite get yet. But it's actually control, right? So for the industry leading earbuds out there, you cannot mute, you cannot end a call, you cannot do some things. on those earbuds. Other vendors are starting to add that in, but controlling your experience, controlling your meetings, controlling your audio were some of the things that we focused. And so we actually said, how do we solve that, right? How do we solve those industry problems? And so what we've done is come out with really what the sort of enterprise, headset industry's first touchscreen controller for a case. And now you can see I'm on the case right now, so I won't flick through too many things, but I will just and then I can unmute myself, right, which is great. Other things we can get battery life, right? So you get different battery. One of the things that we do that's really cool is if I'm wearing down one, we only use one mic, one side for mic, and we don't get audio complexity trying to mix them. But if one of them battery starts to run low, you can drop it in the case, start to charge it up. 15 minutes of charge will give you another hour of usage, but we automatically flip the mic over. And so you can do that, and as long as you don't kill it down to 0 dead, we'll do an automatic mic swap over, and users won't even be able to know. You won't even be able to tell. So really cool. And then a few other things I'm just going to try, and maybe obviously I can get to volume control, and then I can start to change my A and C settings, as well as go into transparency mode, which transparency, the voice pass through, maybe more end user friendly description of that. And the A and C on this thing is solid. And then again, we have the 2 modes, whether we're doing just a standard or the adaptive, where we're re-listening and tuning as we go.
That's awesome. And then the piece that everybody has been very excited about is the idea that there's finally now a built into the plan Bluetooth transmitter for when you're dealing with analog audio.
So I was just traveling, and I will say, when I traveled before we announced it, I was a little bit careful to not use this feature. And I don't know what's going to happen when I plug this in when I'm on a call, but what David's saying is we actually have a cord that is a 3.5 mil cord on one end and a USB-C plug on another. And you plug the case in, the USB charge port there, right? You plug that in to the TV on the airplane. So Air Canada, nice screens, nice to play, nice TVs. And then when you plug this in, and I'm going to do this, and maybe I'll describe it and then do it in case this goes wrong. So once we know, we'll see what happens there. When I plug this in, it's going to flip this into a Bluetooth transmitter. And what it does is it starts transmitting the audio that we're receiving down this cable in the 3.5 mil jack, and it presents that to me as the user, and I can sit and watch movies. And there's other use cases. We talked to some radio station customers that are like, this is great. We can plug it into our equipment and listen to the radio. I'm going to do this. I might have to come back, so apologies. Let's see what happens.
You see?
So if I'm back,
You are
back. Okay, very good. What it told me on my earbuds was it disconnected my PC and my cell phone, and it said device connected. And if I had this plugged in, I would have been able to start hearing whatever movie or whatever audio path is coming through.
Does it let you, and I'm asking a question I probably should have asked you beforehand because I don't want to embarrass us, because I'm going to ask you, can we use it to launch rockets into space? And I'm sure the answer is no. Does it let you pick the Bluetooth devices that you're using at any given time? Because it always used to be, with the Bluetooth standard, you could register a lot more devices than you can connect, but it was always last on was the one. There was no way to actually manage that.
Yeah, and man, David, you're so good at leading, and this wasn't on purpose. So I mean, maybe it was, I don't know, but it's a great question. It's another one of the pain points we see in the industry. So many devices trying to be really intelligent about how and what they connect to. And I was a non-PC guy before our acquisition, and I love my new PC. And I was also testing competitive equipment always, right? I would go for a week at a time on a competitive device. So I had a pair of buds that should have worked really, really well with my non-PC equipment and my cell phone. And I would find that when I was using it on my Mac, I'll just start saying it, on my Mac, that anytime I had a cell phone call come in, I would try and just, okay, well, I'm still in my buds, or I threw my buds in. It would take about 30 seconds to connect, to the point where I would take it out and actually just start talking on the phone. And so for one, I see that still as an industry problem. They haven't solved it. Many others haven't solved it. One of the things that we've done is actually giving you the ability to hard switch over between devices, right? So if I know I want to switch over, I can go and I can hard switch over. It'll give me my 2 latest ones. I can connect up to 10 to be able to just hard switch over. And I don't want to do it because you see, A Reid's iPhone, and
Yes, Your
then
Honor.
my dongle. So yeah, when I'm doing this live, it's a little bit hard to show that, but yeah, another big pain point. And then a few other things on the case, right? We're doing charging capabilities, where we've actually partnered with a company that does maybe a higher wattage or an accelerated Qi charging, so we can actually charge faster than any other cases out there over wireless charging, and then you can charge obviously with USB-C cable.
So how long do the batteries last in general, and how many charges are in the case before it needs to be powered?
You'll get about 5.5 hours of talk time, and I think a lot of different devices out there have different claims of usage, right? Whether it's 10 hours of listening, and we're really focused on that talk time, and then you can have multiple charges based on the 1 or the 2 at a time throughout the case. And like I said, it's about an hour of additional talk time on a 15-minute charge on the bud.
Okay, and it is fair to say that if you're not using them for talking consistently, listening will last longer than talking.
That's right, listening, right? I mean, microphones consume a bit more, right? Like I said, using one at a time, you'll see that one drain a little bit faster. ANC consumes, right? So if you're in a quiet home office, maybe you don't need to have your ANC on. I will say again, I was traveling this week, and I took a couple calls in the cafeteria down at the site in Houston, and man, it was amazing. I was so blocking out all of the cafeteria noise, and it wasn't transmitting through to the far side. It was just an amazing experience to be able to do that. Something that you can't do with some of the other beloved headsets like the 5200 that we have. We'll block it out, but it's hard for you as the local end user.
Well, you have nothing in your other ear. So I know that we've announced that it's going to be available sometime around an end of March, April timeframe. We don't have a specific GA date available yet, but I'm sure we're going to let that information out as soon as we have it a little bit more locked on. We don't want to release the product until it's 100% ready, and we're working seriously. Obviously, we hear that you sound terrific 90% of the time, and it's got to be 100%. So we're getting there. I also know that it's going to be important for people to realize that there are different versions of this, depending upon which USB dongle you want, whether you want the control center. Can you go through that like in a minute or two and just let us know what the variations are?
Yeah, no, exactly. And I was going to get there, but once again, you're getting me set up here.
Keep leading you, man. That's my job.
So control case, wonderful, great experience. If you don't want the control case, we'll do something else for you, right? So we'll give you this nice little travel case. When you open up this travel case, you probably wouldn't travel with it, but you would have your buds. I took the cord out because it's plugged in, but you'd have a little charge cord here. You have your Bluetooth dongle coming with you as well. And then we have this nice little case that fits well in your pocket, right? And this was really the goal here. It uses the same buds, right? So the exact same buds, exact same audio performance, all of the other things that we've talked about, but we wanted to give you is the ability to take this with you wherever you go. And the use case I often describe is I'm at my kids' football practice, and a call comes in. I highly regret when I don't have these with me, right? So the idea is they're in my pocket at all times, right? And the biggest problem I started to have is how many days have they been in my pants pocket, my coat pocket, and then do I need to go charge the case up? So same as the first case, right? It is a wirelessly charged case. You get multiple charges on the buds. You can't see the charge on this case anymore, but you can see it in your lens application. And so really excited about that. And then again, the big case has the dongle, very enterprise UC focused. And then we're also looking at whether we bring a case out without some of those add-ons. And
the dongle is available in USB-C or USB-A, right?
It is, and I sort of have some challenger positions on that one. I won't pick up some of the other samples of things I have on my desk right now, but I would like to figure out how to simplify that as an industry. I think that's still something of a complexity from a SKU perspective. But maybe I'll just leave it at that for today.
Well, I remember having an argument with Plantronics CEO at the time when he went from mini USB to micro USB, saying, "Why are you giving me this one connector now that I have to change because I've been carrying the other one all the time?" And then the whole industry went there. So we've trailblazed before, and we may be trailblazing again.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I didn't, it's a consideration, right? And one of the things we want to do is consolidate more on USB-C as we're seeing. But I should have shared. I was traveling this week, and I was, I killed my case, and I didn't bring a specific USB cable, right? I had my 3.5 to USB-C, and it occurred to me, I'm like, oh, great, I can actually just use my nice HP PC charger, which is also charging over USB-C, which was lovely, right? But if I had, if I didn't do that, I'd have to carry a micro USB or whatever else. So, I'd like to see us consolidate more on USB-C as a standard. I think there's some other benefits from an overall peripheral connectivity. That's for maybe another day.
So the name of this is the Voyager Free 60 or the Voyager Free 60 Plus, correct? Those are the two main names.
Yeah, we might throw UC in there.
Okay.
You might see that come out. I'll leave that as a bit of a hint, but yeah, that's what you got. But the Voyager Free 60 and 60 Plus for the case, right? So just give you free 60, free 60 Plus for now. When we do ship these, sort of.
So
the
Plus is
April
shortening
timeframe.
OLED control is what the Plus stands for.
Sure, yeah, sure, something like that, or just more, right? You get more.
Okay.
So that'll be out sort of in the end of March, April timeframe, and then you'll probably hear a little bit more about that and sort of final pricing, etc.
If someone wants to find out more about these headsets or about what you do, or to inquire about what's going on with the HP Poly and the headset line in general, how could somebody reach out to you? What's the best way to do it?
I'm always happy to hear from our customers, partners. My email address is just simply andre.reid@hp.com. I'm also on LinkedIn. Happy to connect. Again, love hearing the good and the bad. We learn from the bad, but the good feels good. So any comments, feedback are welcome. And if you want to learn more about the Voyager Free 60 series, you can go to poly.com or hp.com, and I'm sure you'll be able to find them on either of those sites.
And I'm looking forward to having my first 100 versions of it that I can give out to all the people that are consistently asking me, because everybody wants the new toy. I actually like this idea of announcing something before it's available, because then everybody's your friend. That's really cool.
I have had significantly more attention after the announcement, good and bad. But it's exciting, and we absolutely will get you units you need to deliver to your analyst partners.
Terrific. Andre, thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate you spending time with us and giving us the show and tell and the walkthrough, because it's a good bit of information that everybody's been asking about. It'll be a great reference as we have it on for the week, and then it'll live forever in the archive for Poly Weekly News. So thanks again very much.
Thank you for having me. It's one of the most exciting launches that I've done here, and I think it's going to make a real impact for our customers as HP Poly.
Terrific. Thanks. So that's it for this week's edition of Poly Weekly News. Next week, we will have Eric Kraft and Erwin Lazar on the show, and they'll be talking about the upcoming Enterprise Connect show, which I will be at and we will be at. And who knows if I'll have any headsets to give away at Enterprise Connect? I don't know. It's the end of March. We can always kind of speculate on that stuff. But until next week, I'm your host, David Danto. As always, thank you very much for watching. For all of my colleagues here at Poly and HP, we really appreciate you spending the time with us to find out more about what's going on. And we'll see you next week.